Welcome to the No Mercy Business Coaching Podcast with Emily A. Woodruff, the podcast that walks you through managing your own small business through the highs and the lows. We'll talk with small business owners from all over the U.S. and share insights on how to help manage your business without the extra fluff and connect with other women just like you. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everyone. It is your host, Emily A. Woodruff. I am excited to be here with you for another week. I have a special guest with us today. Her name is Alyssa, and she is from Salon Volition. Alyssa, why don't you give us a little introduction about you and your business?
Sure. Thank you so much, Emily, for having me here. I'm so excited to be on this platform with you and sharing. Like you said, my name is Alyssa. I am from the North Shore area of Massachusetts, north of Boston, and I am married with two children, an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I'm just about to hit my 10-year wedding anniversary coming up in September. So all great things. And I opened my salon Volition just under a year and a half ago. And since we've opened up, we've had a great response and it's been phenomenal. So I'm really happy to be here and share everything with you guys.
That is so exciting. So what kind of services do you offer at your salon?
So we are a strictly hair salon right now, meaning we offer hair coloring, haircuts, extensions, and some smoothing services. We don't have nails or waxing or facials or anything. It's just hair services. We specialize in natural hair coloring. So colors that look like they grew out of your head that way, or maybe a little bit of an extra pop, but just like that kind of beautiful natural look, and also hair extensions.
That's neat. That's really neat. That's kind of fun too, because there's so many places that want to use like the bright and unnatural things, and it's neat to see people really tapping into the natural beauty,
Exactly. Yeah. Like I feel people feel most confident when they can walk out of the salon and somebody says to them, wow, your hair looks beautiful, versus, oh, did you just get your hair done? Like it looks different, almost just that natural confidence is instilled with that.
Yeah, totally agree. So what made you want to open up your own salon?
Yeah, so it was a little bit of a shocker. It was nothing that was planned with me. I was working at a salon I was almost at the 11-year mark, and I managed, there was 2 separate locations by the time I left, and I was mainly a general manager for both, but then I was more located in one. So I was kind of happy. I was just managing behind the chair, doing my thing. And unfortunately, there was some unforeseen circumstances where a group of us girls had to leave due to legal reasons. So I can't get too in depth with that, but legally, we had to leave. So I left in January of 2021, and I rented a chair, which is a different version of being in a salon. You can be an employee or you can rent a chair, which is kind of like being your own business owner in a sense, but you're in a chair in somebody else's salon. And it just didn't feel enough for me. I felt like I needed more and like I was meant for more. So I want to say it was February 19th, I signed my lease, and by April 1st, we were opened with Volition. So it was really quick and unexpected, but I truly believe everything happens for a reason. And when one door closes, another opens. And that's how my salon came about.
That's awesome. That's so great.
Yeah.
So that's something you've always like dreamed about since you were a little girl. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, it's really funny. I always say that, like a lot of hairdressers or hairstylists, I should say, as a little girl or from a young age, like loved playing with hair and doing their friends' hair and Barbie's hair, and just always kind of had that passion. And like, or even when they got into it, they always want to open their salon one day. And I have always been entrepreneurial, but it just was not something that like I ever saw myself doing. I was happy where I was at. I was content. It it wasn't a passion of mine, surprisingly. And even like as a kid, like I didn't enjoy doing other people's hair. I just one day said, I'm going to go to school for hair, and I did it, and I enjoyed it. I don't know. I don't know how to describe that. It almost was just like it was written in the cards for me, and I was just following those cards. So yeah, usually, like you said, it's the other way around. It's this big dream of owning this salon and like finally doing it, where like it wasn't like that for me. But now that I have one, I want them all. So I guess now that switch turned on, and now I want, I have my vision of my 3, 5, 10-year goals, and more salons are in the picture. So it's funny how that happens.
That's great. So what's something that this job or your position with this job, being a business owner now, has taught you that you think that everyone should learn at some point in their life or in their career?
Sure. I feel like one of the things that plays a huge role in the success of a business, just in life in general, is structure and systems, and having those things kind of set in place so that everything can run smoothly, and even down to your daily life. So I'm doing some coaching now with a coach, and part of that is, this is supposed to be, business coaching, as you know, and part of it is just life coaching, and how that life coaching can now come into my business and change my business. Just things such as a morning routine of waking up a little bit earlier, making my bed, doing a little bit of getting your blood pumping, and then journaling, and that is just my structure and my system. And then taking that type of habitual process and bringing it into your business and instilling that in your employees, it kind of comes full circle. So I think just having clear set structure and systems can be beneficial for anybody, not just business owners, just everybody's daily life.
That's great. So this is not part of my
that's
my pre-thing. Do you do any type of training, like leadership training or management training with your crew?
Yeah, so we're getting into that. Yes. So actually today I just had a meeting with my staff, and my goal is to be a little bit more frequent with it, but we at least try to have a meeting once a month, and we go over numbers and things like that. But not just that, but personal development. And today one of our questions was, what's your perfect, in an ideal world, what would your perfect week look like? Like, what would you do every day? What would your work schedule be like? And what would you make at the end of that week? And then we kind of dissect it into how are we going to get there? Things like that. And I haven't quite gotten to the management training yet, because the salon where I'm at is only 2 chairs, and I only have really 2. I have 4 employees, but 2 of them are more solid, looking for growth employees. But we are potentially going to be opening a second location in the very near future. So I am going to need that management training, because I can't be at 2 places at once. So it's definitely something that I know is going to be coming up kind of fast and furious, to where I'm going to need these management trainings, so these girls know how to manage when I'm not there.
That's great. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you think, for your industry, what do you think is the most important kind of personality trait or strength that somebody would need to be successful?
Confidence. I know that's hard. Confidence does not come easy for a lot of people, but that is the number one struggle that I see in my stylists that maybe aren't doing as well as they've hoped. And it's because, especially in a business where you're dealing with the public and a lot of different people, there's a lot of different personalities that you're managing and you're trying to fit in with. So you kind of have to be a chameleon in a sense and work well with all these people. But in the end, if you don't have confidence, that's going to really hinder your growth, because people sense that. and they either don't want to come back to you because they feel like you're unsure of yourself, or they try to take control of the appointment, and then you're not happy with yourself because you weren't able to give them your full potential. So I definitely feel like in this industry, confidence is key to success.
That's great. So I just kind of started thinking about how you said that you opened like a year and a half ago, right? So
Yeah.
you did this like mid-pandemic while all the salons in the country were shut down and things.
Pretty
How
close. Yeah, pretty
how
close
did
to
that work?
mid-pandemic. I almost had no choice, right? Like we definitely opened up in a time where there was still strict rules and regulations, masks, social distancing, no snacks, no drinks. So it was very hard to be able to give my clients the full experience that I am used to providing.
Hmm.
My regular clients obviously knew how things were before COVID, so for them, but for new clients, it was really difficult. So we definitely had to try to figure out ways to go above and beyond so that they could kind of get the feel and the vibe that we like to offer. But it was hard. Like I couldn't see these people's faces. They can't see my face. It definitely was a struggle, but we were luckily able to kind of push through. And I do think that one thing that helped us is the fact that we're a smaller salon. So a
Mhm.
lot of customers and clients felt really comfortable with the fact that there was never going to be more than 4 people maximum in the salon at a time.
Sure.
So it didn't feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm in a salon with 15 people, like this is crazy.
Yeah,
So that definitely, I think, was a big factor in helping us grow through COVID.
that's really interesting. And I'm from Michigan, so we had really, really strict rules. You probably heard about us on, on the news and things. There were protests and all sorts of things because they completely shut it down, totally, totally shut it down here. And it's just, I had another friend that opened a salon through this COVID deal, and it just
Mhm.
amazes me. It's just more power to you. Kudos.
Thank you. Yeah. The one thing I will say about COVID was people did not care. They still wanted their hair done. Like
For
that
sure.
was, yeah, that was one thing that people were like, I am willing to get sick as long as my roots aren't gray. So
For
that
sure.
is one thing that we definitely are lucky with the hair salon industry.
That's funny. My husband, we were home for like 7 weeks with the way that our industries were shut down. And
Mhm.
I don't cut his hair ever. And he finally let me do it, and he has never let me do it again. So we're thankful. We're thankful that salons are open again.
The salon's open back up again because that could be bad. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I love you, but no.
But you're not my hairstylist
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
That's
That's
funny.
great. Yeah. So what about like a common rumor? I'm sure that you have heard some rumors about hairstylists. What's something that you can clear the air on?
Oh, 100%. So like my biggest uh pet peeve, I guess I should say, with hairstylists is that they're ditzy and stupid, right? Like that's like, you see like the memes of them like blowing bubble gum while, just like kind of like dopey, I guess. So that was one of the main pushes behind my salon name, right? There was a lot of reasons why I chose the name Volition. But one of them is I wanted a name that was more sophisticated and educated, because doing hair isn't just, you know, cutting and curling. There's a lot of chemistry behind it, and you have to be really knowledgeable about a lot of things, or you could really mess up somebody's hair.
Mhm.
There's lawsuits all the time of, which again, I guess this doesn't prove my case very well, but there are some instances, that you can really do bad things. So I just feel like all hairstylists get that reputation of just kind of being ditzy and dumb. And I really, like, my goal is to show the world that, like, we aren't all like that way. Like a lot of us actually are really educated and we know our stuff, and we are more than that. So I guess like that's the one thing that I wish could be cleared up a little bit. It's not just fluff and glamour. It's also sophistication.
Mm-hmm. And I think our generation is kind of changing that image a little bit. I think that that was really, really heavy, like in our parents' generation.
Sure.
And it seems like there's a lot of people with that same mindset that are trying to shift the way that it looks, thankfully, because that's
Yes.
something that it's just ingrained in people's minds that that's it, and as a business person, I know that that's not true. I know that you don't just come in and pick up a wand and know what you're doing. You have to go to school, you have to study, you have to train,
Yeah.
it's neat. I'm excited to see things changing in that manner.
Me too. Me too. And I do see a shift 100%. I see more respect coming to the industry, slowly but surely.
Mhm.
And almost I feel like COVID put a little bit of a light to that because of how much people realize, like, not where we just their gray coverage, where their therapy and where they're,
Yeah.
so much more. And like, that's the one thing that people wanted to open up so bad, regardless of, what was happening. So I think that shed a little light of how important we actually are in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah. No, I agree. And especially in like minority communities
Mhm,
where the way that they get a hairdo done or have their hair worked on is totally different than how I would. It's an
mhm.
all day thing sometimes for them. And you bring your family, you're there all day long, you get to know each other way more in depth than I would just coming and sitting in your seat for an hour.
A
You know,
hundred
it's
percent.
a
It's a
full culture
community.
shift.
Yeah, a hundred
It's
percent.
neat. It's
Yeah, it
neat.
is. So it's been great to kind of see that start to shift.
That's cool. So what's something in your business that's happened that you didn't expect? Like in your salon, has something happened that you weren't prepared for?
It's a good question, that I wasn't prepared for. Just in general, maybe is that what like
Yeah.
just in regards to everything. Um, I think the biggest thing for me that I wasn't expecting um, was how detailed it really is to run a business behind the scenes. Again, not that like I think a lot of the time, oh, I'll just go open up my own salon, like I'm doing great anyway. So like, why can't I do it all for myself, right?
Sure.
But I think that what I wasn't expecting was like the numbers behind it all and like the formulas and the finding out how much like you have to in order to make sure that you're actually going to be profitable, you need to know how much does it cost me to be open down to the minute, like
Right.
are my expenses too high, what percentage should my wages be to my revenue, like there's a lot behind there.
Yeah.
So like for the first kind of like 10 months, 12 months, I was just kind of like coasting, like, okay, this seems like it's working. We're doing well. We're busy. Like things are great. But then like, especially as I start to look into a second location, like, okay, well, I really need to get a hold on this and like
Yeah.
figure it all out. And that, I guess, I was not expecting. I was just expecting it to keep just running,
Sure.
smoothly. So that was one thing that kind of surprised me, how in depth you need to get to really truly understand like the business side of it versus just the styling side of it.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
Yeah, I don't have any other like crazy surprises, luckily, right? Like I
Yeah.
guess everything else has been, definitely I guess another thing would be how hard it is to find staff. I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
people are feeling that struggle of staffing issues. But other than that, there's been no other like crazy
Good.
curveballs thrown my way yet. Yeah, knock
Oh,
on wood.
good. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Is there anything additional that you would want our listeners to know about you or your business?
Uh, Sure. I mean, my thing really that I want to like part of like my whole volition, my vibe, my feelings that I like to bring like to my clients, to my staff is just that I feel like a lot of people think, oh, it can't be me, like I can't do that, or um and I just want everybody to know that like if you truly believe you can do it, you can do it. And I think not enough people have that in themselves. Obviously some things will take work, but if you set your mind to something, then you can do it. Like, as long as you truly believe it. And I feel like that's the type of, volition means the power of one's free will, by your own volition. So just make the choice and do it. Like, 5 years is going to come no matter what. Like, you can't stop that. So like, if there's something you want to do, why not spend the next 5 years trying to do it versus just thinking about it? It's going to come whether you want it to or not, right? So make it worth it. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. Well, where can our listeners find you online?
Thank you. Yeah. So we are on Facebook at Salon Volition on Facebook. We are on Instagram as well at salon.volition. And we are on TikTok and our TikTok is at Salon Volition. And our website is salonvolition.com. So just look for Salon Volition and you'll find us everywhere.
Awesome.
Yeah. All over the place.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I will link all of your links. I'll put those in the comments and make them available for any listeners. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much, Emily. And I appreciate you having me here again. It was a pleasure and I love being able to share with everyone.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for listening to the No Mercy Business Coaching and Consulting Podcast with Emily A. Woodruff. We specialize in branding and design for women, by women.